Hi, Dan Kane here with the Boone County Conservation District, and I'm going to take you on a little journey outside to see where our water comes from. So come on, join me outside. So, as you can see, it's raining outside today. You can see all the raindrops hitting the puddle in my driveway, and the water is coming off the drip line, which is the area right along the edge of these branches, and then dripping down into the puddle that you see below. And then the water from there, once it gets high enough, will start to flow out toward the street, and then eventually it's going to flow down the hill. So if you look down the street, I live up on the side of a hill, and you can see the water is falling as rain, and that there is water out moving down the hill. And we'll just take a walk over here and look at that so you can see it. Going to look uphill first. And you can see the trickle of water going past. That's called the curb portion of the street. And the curb portion right here is where the water concentrates and then flows down the hill right along that edge. Anything that might be laying in that street could get picked up and carried downstream. So we actually found a plastic bottle sitting outside, and you can see it's flowing down in the curb and gutter and running toward the storm drain. So you can see that bottle is still being carried by the water going down the slope from the curb and gutter. And then if you look right around the corner from that curb and gutter, this is the storm drain. And you can see all the material, mostly grass and leaves and sticks, collected on top of the drain. This is where the water is going. And from here, now you can see all the debris that's been carried down here by the water, because water is always picking up and carrying things. And you can see the water is flowing down into the storm drain. That's a pipe that goes underground and will take whatever is picked up and carried into that pipe down to the river. So that water is going downstream. You can see how easily things like that plastic bottle could fit into those storm drains and be carried right into our streams and rivers. Along with it, you can see that there's a lot of sediment accumulating right here. This sediment is also being carried by the moving water, and that is also a potential pollutant. So as rain falls in our communities, we have things that people have built that create what we call hard or impervious surfaces. Impervious surfaces are places where water can't just soak into the ground like it would in the grass. Instead, it hits the roof of the buildings, and then you can see right along the corner there's a downspout. That downspout collects the water off of that roof, and then it's carried down to the ground and released. To try and help offset all the impervious surface, people can do things like creating rain barrels that collect water from their downspouts, come off the roof, like you see right there, and the water flows down the spout, and then it goes into this tube right here, and then down into this rain barrel. So the rain barrel holds the water then that I can use later to water my garden. So that's another great way to save water and keep it here instead of flowing down the street and into the storm water. Another thing you can do is manage your yard with plants that are native to the area. These native plants have really deep and extensive root systems. And these plants will let the water soak into the ground and become groundwater instead of flowing across the ground surface and becoming part of the surface water system right away. Rainwater off of this roof is just falling right off of the roof, and then it drips down, and these plants are accepting that water and catching it and using it with their root systems. So those plants are keeping the water from running off and potentially causing problems downstream. The rain has intensified. Now you see more water coming off the roof and falling to the ground. And on the hard surfaces, like the little patio, you can see the water is flowing as a sheet. That's called sheet flow. And Abe is going to go down there and check it out. You go, Abe. Where's that water going? What? You want me to follow you? Okay. Let's go have a look. Yes, the water's coming down here, cascading over the little step, and then flowing off into the yard and forming a pool down at the other end as the water flows across the yard. Wow, water is so cool. You can see how it's always moving. And now that the water is concentrating, it's really starting to pick up and carry some sediment. You can see that little bands of soil are being carried off, and little deltas are being formed right here where the water slows down. Look at that. That is awesome. The bigger pieces of sediment, sand, and little pieces of rock that we call gravel are all settling out in these little pools between the clumps of grass. And then we have an area right here where there's a little stream starting to form. That is called concentrated flow. It's just a trickle right here. But if I expand out, you can see that trickle flows all the way down and ends up going to that same pool. Look, even Abe is trying to figure out where the water is going. Abe, what are you doing? Did you find where it's going? Wow, so cool. Water is such a fun thing to explore and watch.